Hey, hi, hello. It has been quite a while since I've actually made a video appearing on camera and talking on this channel. I think the last time I made a video was spring of 2019. So it's been a little while. Definitely gonna have to get used to doing this again, so hopefully I can get through this without sounding like a complete awkward mess of human being. So I hope you all are doing well. I'm actually not doing too bad myself, which is nice to say out loud. So since it's been so long, some of you might even be confused as to who I even am. So if we have not met before, my name is Zach. I am a 23-year-old videographer/photographer from Pennsylvania, and I am the guy behind all of the car show videos that have no shake that you might have been watching for the past few months or so. So since some of you might be new or newish here, allow me to give some background on the channel. I started Alpha JDM in 2013 just as a online automotive media brand, just posting stuff from car shows and other various car stuff online. And I started posting on this channel in 2014, and my first video under Alpha JDM was tuners versus ricers, the key differences. So if you've seen that before, hi, yes, that was me. For a while it was mostly compilation videos, but eventually I transitioned into videos that was actually me talking about different topics. Like if a new car came out, or like something major happened in the automotive world, or car culture, or stuff going on with my cars. If you don't know, I have a 91 Miata, a 1990 Honda Civic, and also have a 2011 Honda Odyssey, which I bought for a very good reason, which I'll probably go over in another video in the future. So I did those videos up until 2019, as I just said, and around that time, they were doing alright up until that point. Nowhere near as good as they were back like a few years ago, but not too bad. Then eventually I just sort of fell off making those kinds of videos, and honestly I kind of fell off YouTube for a few months around that time. When I picked it up again in 2020, I was mostly just doing car show videos and releasing car show videos that I wasn't able to throughout 2019. But I'm trying to get the ball rolling on these kinds of videos again, and hopefully soon I can start doing at least one video a week, and then I can get ahead of myself and start doing multiple videos a week. Keep up that consistency. But for this video, I just want to discuss why I was absent for so long, and more importantly, the future of this channel, what kind of videos I'm going to be putting out over the next few months, car show videos, and what's going on with car show season as far as I can tell right now. I don't really want to ramble. I want to keep this video relatively short after I just get done rambling, and also this LED light is absolutely blinding me. I'm also filming on a new camera. I picked up a Sony a7 III a few months ago, and it doesn't have a flip-out screen, so I really hope I'm in focus. Anyway, on to the subjects at hand. So we're still somewhat fresh out of 2020, which was a frustrating year to say the least. Although as far as the worst year ever goes, 2020 really wasn't the worst year ever for me, which I know probably makes me sound like an ass because I know a lot of people are really struggling this year, but for me it just wasn't like too terrible. I sort of got a head start on everyone. 2019 was personally my worst year ever. Things really started to turn sour around spring of 2019. Unfortunately, around that time, I just started to fall into a really deep depressive hole, and for a while, it was sort of just hard to be a human, essentially. Yes, I know, 23-year-old with long black hair wearing a My Chemical Romance t-shirt has depression. Big shocker. I think I started becoming aware of my depression sometime around 2018. But I think it's been going on for quite a while, honestly, because I've had, just spells of being miserable for no reason for quite a while, and I think I was in denial about it for the longest time, if anything, because every time that would happen, I'd be like, no, I was like, I'm not depressed. I was like, I can't be depressed. I was like, I'm just upset, if anything. It wasn't really until I started having actual mental breakdowns where I was like, uh-oh. That's not good. After that, I decided to actually see what was going on, and I did receive a diagnosis of MDD, which is major depressive disorder, as well as anxiety disorder, because apparently those two things go together like EJ25s and blown head gaskets for some reason. So up until that point, it wasn't really horrible. It was manageable for the most part, but I think the situation that I got myself in at the time definitely started dumping gasoline on the fire. So in March of 2019, I took this new job at a printing company, and I was working 12-hour shifts throughout various days of the week from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. And prior to that, I was working a retail job for a little while after I had been laid off from my first job. And, you know, it was retail, it kind of sucked, it didn't pay that well, it's sort of to be expected, unfortunately. But I would have taken that place over this new job any day of the week. Honestly, I think I would have taken cleaning elephant shit in barbed wire fields over this place. So this was a label printing company. We'd print stuff for, food products, tools, drinks, stuff, things of that nature. And they would be printed on these gigantic rolls that weighed, 150 pounds and were, 2 miles long. I'm not even exaggerating. They were, 10,000 to 12,000 feet long. So what this job entailed was that you would load these big boys on the machine, and you would mount the paper on the roller, and you just send it off, and you just watch the thing roll. Just making sure there was no marks for 12 hours straight. Just watching the thing, just... So it was already a painfully boring job experience. That was just one aspect of the job that sucked. There was a completely different thorn in my side that I had to deal with there. And that was Kevin. Fuck Kevin. Kevin's an asshole. And Kevin, if you're watching this, fuck you. You're an asshole. This guy was supposed to be training me on this big machine that cost $2.5 million apparently, that I've never ran before. And literally from the very minute that I met this guy, I knew that it was going to be a challenge. So when I was introduced to him, I was like, hey, my name's Zach. I guess you're going to be helping me with my training. And this dude just looks at me and he's just like... So clearly this was going to go well. So I was sitting there watching this damn machine that I barely knew how to run because this dude couldn't be bothered to help me for anything for 12 hours. Literally, if something went wrong, I would go ask him for help as someone who has never run a label printing machine the size of a septibus would do, and he'd basically tell me to fuck off. He would angrily respond to me like, give me a few minutes, I'm dealing with my own stuff. Which apparently his own stuff was sitting on the computer shopping for pants and browsing the golf course schedule. I've concluded that people who play golf are terrible people. There were a few guys, including him, that all played golf together, and they were all terrible. So I'd ask for help and I'd get a response like that, and more often than not afterwards he'd end up disappearing for like 30 minutes or so, and this guy had like a habit of vanishing and basically leaving me by myself. Although pretty much everyone at that place was terrible in their own unique ways. They all hated each other to the point where they would literally sabotage each other's machines just to get them into trouble. And as you can imagine, that would make actually getting things done there slightly difficult. The only two cool people there were my daytime coworker, who I was only there for 2 hours with, and my second night shift coworker, who was working a machine that he had to actually watch constantly, so I couldn't really ask him for help or anything. And also, this machine I was running wasn't exactly what I would describe as fine-tuned. It had a lot of issues. This thing would create marks on the paper like all the time, and I didn't really know how to properly troubleshoot it because Kevin never really properly explained to me how to troubleshoot it. Fuck Kevin. What you did if you had marks is you would run a clean, and if that didn't work, you'd run a stronger clean, and if that didn't work, you'd actually go underneath the machine and physically clean the print heads, like with a cloth and solvent. Which the man of the hour had told me to never actually touch the print heads. He told me just wipe around like the metal plates surrounding the print heads. Because he told me that if I touched the actual print heads, I would get dust in them, and they would break, and it would cost $40,000. I later found out was not the case, and they were very confused when I told them that when I was cleaning it, I never actually touched the print heads. They were like, how the fuck are you cleaning it if you're not touching the print heads? So 9 times out of 10, that stuff would never work, and when I would ask for further assistance, I was just told to read the manual, which literally said to do the same exact thing, and if none of that worked, call for service. Which for some reason, we didn't have a service contract for this machine, so whenever something went wrong with it or needed maintenance, we had to actually fly a dude out from Nevada, and it would be down for several days or weeks. One night we had a very big break, the yellow inkjet took a crap, and obviously Kevin became very angry with me, and blamed me for it, saying that it was my fault because I let the yellow ink run out and it had sucked air into the line. So the machine was down for about 2 weeks, and since that machine was the only machine that I ran, I really had nothing to do for 2 weeks. I'd asked for various assignments to keep me occupied for 12 hours, and those assignments were either A, mopping the floor, or scraping varnish off the floor that for some reason they had decided to leave there until they hired me. But 3 days into this repair, me and my daytime coworker were talking to the repair dude, and he said that it broke because there was air in the line. So I'm thinking, oh crap, I actually did break this thing. But turns out I didn't. Apparently it was a manufacturing defect where the ink nozzle wasn't sealing correctly to the line, and it was sucking air in because of that, and that was the 7th machine that they had done a service on in that region apparently. So this dude straight up threw me under the bus, and I'm like very convinced that he was trying to get me fired. So finally, after about 3 weeks of floor mopping and varnish scrubbing, we finally get the frickin' thing up and running again. And it was around June at this point, and now that the machine is up and running, we apparently have the slowest summer for the company on record. They would give me like 3 or 4 jobs to run, and I would always end up finishing them by like 8 or 9 p.m. And when I finished up my work for the night and had nothing to do, guess what I was told to do? Mop the floors and scrape the varnish. I gotta say, 8 hours of mopping and scraping varnish definitely built some character. I would literally ask for anything else to do. And the response from Kevin, because mind you, it was basically just both of us for the most part, be like, look man, I really got nothing for you. If you want to, you can just go home and lose 6 hours of my pay. So, no thank you. So eventually I got fed up and I finally quit in October of 2019. I actually managed to go back to my first job, which I think I already mentioned was a printing company, just different format printing with actual like pieces of paper rather than big like label sheets. That's been going pretty decently. It's still second shift, but I'm not working 3 to 3 anymore. I'm working like 11:30 to 10. It still inhibits my time to do stuff, I guess, like a little bit, but nowhere near as bad as it used to be. I can still get stuff done for the most part, just slower. So yeah, that was a properly shitty period of my life and a properly shitty job. I'm sure everyone has had at least one horrid job in their life. And it did a little toll on my mental health because I was already going through it a little bit before. And when I got that job, I was like, alright, I was like, things are actually finally starting to get back on track, but nope. During that time, it was becoming increasingly difficult to actually like remain focused on my goals. And it more or less became just a constant battle to try to get through most days without having a mental breakdown or something. And it seemed like the harder I tried to dig myself out of this hole, the deeper I would get kicked back down into it. And it began to seem pointless after a while. And I was constantly tired all the time. They say it takes about 2 weeks for your body to adjust to a new schedule, but my body never really adjusted to that 12-hour work shift. I would always end up getting like 4 hours of sleep and end up being tired, or end up grossly oversleeping and end up being tired. My eating habits also became sort of sporadic. I ended up losing a bunch of weight over that 6-month period. So I was tired, depressed, felt like crap, and there were even days, honestly, where I would just lay in bed and do nothing throughout most of the day. So eventually I started becoming, like, honestly very worried that this could be leading to some other worse mental health issue. And also I just really started getting tired of it, so I decided to actually ask for help. I talked to my doctor about it, and that's when I was diagnosed with MDD, and I was given stuff to help like fix my sleeping schedule, like reset my circadian rhythm, and I was also given stuff to help like reset my eating habits. Since then, I have gained back most of the weight that I lost. I'm back up to a healthy weight. And more recently, I have been feeling a lot better, honestly. I'm still not perfect. I do dip from time to time. But, you know, it's nowhere near as consistent as it was in 2019 or throughout, like, a part of 2020. I've learned how to manage it a lot better nowadays. And I finally feel like I'm ready to actually get back on camera and get things going again. But yeah, that was just a really shitty period of my life, and I just felt like a walking mass of negativity. I feel like I was, like, bringing my friends down around me, too, but I wasn't, honestly. That was just like me overthinking everything, and I feel like I was letting a lot of people down, you know, being like slow with content, like getting, you know, photos and videos out like slowly, and I just don't ever want to feel that way again. So like I'm glad that we're getting past that. And also I gotta say, I'm not sitting here like trying to tell a sob story or anything or make you guys like feel bad for me. There was just a lot of stuff going on in my life at the time that was just greatly affecting my channel, and I just feel the need to explain honestly why I was absent for so long. And if there's anything to take away from that, is that if you're struggling with depression or any other mental health illness, don't just suffer in silence. Like, talk to people, like, get help, like, talk to your friends. I can promise you these people would rather help you than just sit there and watch you deteriorate. Like, it's not fun for anyone. So another big reason why I was away in 2019 for a while was I was going through some pretty bad technical difficulties. Around July of 2019, the laptop I was using took a crap and didn't work anymore. Yeah, I use laptops. I'm hoping to build a PC eventually, but that's aside the point for now. But as you can imagine, you can't really have a YouTube channel without a computer. So I ordered a new one. Like, I literally knew my laptop was about to die. Like, I went on eBay and ordered this thing, and then like 10 minutes later, the laptop stopped working. So after about 2 weeks, I received my new laptop, and obviously had to re-download all my editing programs. So I downloaded Corel Paint Shop, which is the photo editing program that I use, as well as Corel Video Studio, which obviously is the video program I use. The photo program installed just fine. Like, there were no issues with that. But for some reason, the video editor couldn't install. Like, it would get to 100%, and then it would just say that some error would occur, and it would crash. So I spent a bit trying to figure out this issue, and I was going through, like, so many forums, like, videos, like, stuff on the Corel's website. Couldn't find anything useful. So eventually I called Corel's customer support, and they were completely useless. They were sending me all kinds of links, like trying to tell me to do all kinds of different things, and just none of it was working. So finally, after about 2 or 3 weeks, so we're about a month without no content at this point, I found a way to repair it with a Windows program, and I got it up and running. Except I didn't. When I went to start editing my Toon Revolution video, I found out that there was a very bad bug in the program that didn't allow it to really display 60 frames per second or anything above that. And I film all my car show videos in at least 60 frames per second. I'm filming 120 frames per second now with the Sony camera. The thing was, it would actually render out completely fine. Like, the video would have no issue, just when it was in the editing timeline itself, it would be extremely laggy, and I would really have no indication as to what I was doing, so it was basically useless. So I was sort of back to square one, so I decided I would just go to Corel's website and download a older version of the program that I had already used in the past, and everything would be fine. Only for some reason they had removed all previous versions of Corel Video Studio from their website. So I was stuck with this dumpster fire. I downloaded just like a bunch of other video editing programs and like trials and all kinds of things, just trying to learn how to use one like as fast as I possibly could. Because the car show videos were just stacking up. Like, learning how to use a new video program during a like season rush never goes well. So finally, towards the end of 2019, I did manage to get an older version of Corel Video Studio, and like I'm trying to learn how to use like other editing programs. Like I'm trying to transition to Sony Vegas, but at the time, Corel Video Studio was just like the easiest thing that I knew how to use, and I just had to get like all this stuff out like as fast as I possibly could, because I was like sitting on like 12 videos at that point. So yeah, that's that. I really hope that wasn't 20 minutes of me rambling. It probably was. But let's move on to what I have planned for the rest of the year as far as I know, if everything goes well. As I mentioned, in 2020, I just spent all my time like working on and uploading car show videos. I really just wanted to like get better at making car show videos and taking photos. And honestly, I think I did greatly improve on my car show videos throughout 2020. I know they're not getting as near as many views as they used to, but I still think I put out some proper bangers last year. I'm going to continue to do that, and I'm just going to up the quality as much as I can, and I'm just going to try to get out to as many car shows as I can this year, and hopefully get some more like private shoots and like features up as well. So far we have Tuner Evolution in Central PA in April, I believe. We have an Elite Tuner show also in April. We have Import Expo in North Carolina, which I'm going to try to attend, and we have Tuner Evolution in Chicago and Import Expo in Atlantic City, which are within a day from each other, and if I can pull that off, I'll pull that off, but we'll see. The schedule is coming out as fast as promoters are receiving info, and I know they're trying their best to keep the shows going in the safest way they possibly can. And they did a very good job of that last year, so big shout out to those guys for keeping us media guys busy and just keeping the culture going throughout all of this. And on top of the car show videos, I plan on going back to my older style videos just in a better format. So videos on new cars, opinions on things in car culture, so just anything I can come up with that's car related and interesting to talk about in a video. I have a lot of things written down that I plan on executing hopefully soon. I even want to do like consistent segments. Like one idea is a segment called Automotive Oddities, and that's just going to be like talking about like weird or underappreciated or just like outlandish concept cars with good stories. I'd also like to do some behind the scenes stuff like during some of my shoots. I really enjoy watching content like that, and it seems to be working pretty well for other videographers out there in the scene, so I figured I'd try it out. I also plan on doing videos of my project cars once it gets warmer, so yeah, that'll be a thing, and I'll do a video going over them once it's daytime and they're not buried in snow. Alright, I think this video is going on way too long already, but I think I went over everything I want to discuss in this reintroduction video of sorts. So if all that sounds like something you'd be interested in following, definitely hit the subscribe button. I hate saying that, it sounds like I'm pandering, but apparently it works. Please hit the bell. You'll literally never see anything that I upload unless you hit the bell. Actually, as a matter of fact, you'll probably never see anything I upload, even if you do hit the bell. So if you really want to see my videos, just like check my channel every so often. Lastly, I have an Instagram where I post almost daily with like car show pics and just like private shoot pics that I have like scattered throughout my hard drive. And I'm not even asking at this point. Go give that a follow because my engagement has tanked. So yeah, help me out there a little bit with that. Okay, I think that's enough pandering and plugging for one evening. So hopefully I will see you guys soon, and I'll stop talking now.